push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into our YSN Super Show. We're missing our owner today, and DJ Yoakley's got you covered for South Range, and they're at University School, which starts at 5 o'clock, so that's coming up in just a few hours. But we got all 6 YSN personalities on the stream here today. Starting to my right, you got Mike Ackelson, Jamie Thompson. Down below, we got Mikey G from the, where you at, West Branch parking lot there, Mikey?
No, I'm coming home from college, so just in the parking lot here.
Chris Stigler and that Michael McKenzie. Guys, we got a full slate of games today, 26 total on the docket on YSN. So this is going to be a fun one. And we're going to start at the very top. And like I just mentioned before, South Range at University School. DJ Yoakley and Gary Niddle are going to be on the call. That's a smaller stadium, and we were talking about this before. I don't know how they're going to fit the South Range faithful in that stadium today with how small the visiting stands are.
Nah, I don't see how this is going to happen. Not only are they not going to fit the band and all the fans in there, but the scoreboard might not have enough lights on it for South Range when they're done.
All right, so I'm guessing you're picking the Raiders in week number 2?
I'm not wasting any time. I'm staying Raiders right there.
All right, Jamie, we'll move it over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to roll with Mike here. I made the mistake last year of picking University, and it's not going to happen again.
Mikey G, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll take South Range on this one.
Siggy?
South Range, I saw University School play there last year, and I think the way South Range hits everybody in the mouth early in these games, it's hard for these teams to come back on them. So I don't see it any different today. So South Range.
McNuggies, do we have a clean sweep on the board for game number 1 today?
Yes, we do. I don't think I've ever picked against South Range, and I don't think I'm going to change that today.
All right, let's move to our second one. Everybody's got the Raiders in the 5 o'clock start. We're going to go over to Alliance at Niles. Ian O'Brien on the call. Niles coming off that big victory over their rival, and Howland and Alliance got beat up in week number 1. I'm going to go with the Red Dragons here in week 2. Mike, what do you got?
I'm sticking Red Dragons in this one. I thought they had a pretty impressive road win, rivalry game last week. I just don't see Alliance beating them.
Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Alliance. They got beat up by Lake last week, but I think that's a good team to lose to. For me, I'm going with the Aviators. I've seen Niles kind of do this year after year, right? They kind of start strong, and then they finally run into a tough opponent, and it starts to slide downhill. I think it might happen a little bit sooner than later this year. I got Alliance.
All right, I like it. I think you're going to be the only one that might break up this sweep. Mikey G, what do you got, Alliance or Niles?
This was a tough one for me to pick. I think this one could go either way. I've seen Alliance just because they're in West Branch's conference. They do have some athletes, but I like the way Niles is playing right now. Give me the Red Dragons.
All right, Ziggy?
I'm going to go with Jamie here. I'm going to take Alliance too. They have a stud running back that they only gave the ball to 10 times last week, and Lake was a little too much for them to handle. And I think their athletes will come through for them this week. I'm taking Alliance.
Mackenzie, what do you got? You're fighting the sun up there.
Yeah, fighting the sun just a little bit, but never better, never bad to really brave the elements on a Friday night. But the question is with Niles, very impressive last week, like everybody said. Are they going to come into this one continuing to ride the momentum of that win last week and continue to play strong, or are they going to be riding the high and come out a little sluggish and have Alliance take that advantage? I think they come out riding the momentum in a good way, and I think they pick up this victory. I was very impressed with Niles last week.
All right, 4-2. We got Niles over Alliance, and we're going to move on to, I think, one of the biggest matchups this week. Two teams that are looking to bounce back after 2 week 1 tough losses. When you look at Brookfield playing up a couple divisions and taking on the Irish at Stambaugh Stadium, and then Springfield dropping 1 to their rival in South Range. So Brookfield at Springfield. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to take Brookfield in a bounce back victory against the Tigers. Mike, what do you think in this matchup?
This one was a tough one for me because I go back to last year's matchup. Brookfield gave Springfield everything they could. Late in the game, the tide turned. Springfield got it out of victory. This one's in Tiger Town. So I'm going to go with Springfield to bounce back this week.
All right. Split the start, Jamie.
I mean, this is a tough one, right? Springfield, they did me the honor taking me on a state championship run a few years ago, but I think Brookfield's really good this year. I have full belief in the Warriors. So first, shout out Coach Carm, O-line, D-line coach over there for Brookfield. I think the boys are going to come out ready, and they're going to lead the Warriors to victory today. I got Brookfield.
All right, 2-1 on the top. Let's start with Mackenzie this time on the bottom.
You know, the one game I didn't, or the one football game I didn't call that wasn't with the local Beavers actually was out in Tiger Town with Springfield. So I'm going to be biased towards the Tigers and take them in this one.
All right, Siggy.
I think Brookfield's got more talent than people realize. I think they're putting a lot of weight in that game last week because Ursuline's loaded. So I mean, I think Brookfield's that good. I think they come out on top.
All right, Mikey G, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with Siggy. That was a tough game last week against Ursuline. I think they have a lot of talent, especially on the offensive line, and I think that's where Brookfield wins it in the trenches.
All right, we'll move on to game number 4. Ken McKinley at Austintown. Fitch back at Falcon Stadium for the second consecutive week after knocking off the number 9 seeded team in Nevada in Henderson. So everybody last week was going with Fitch, and it looks like across the board today, everybody went with Fitch again. Is anybody opposed that?
No.
Right. Clean sweep.
Clean sweep. They got way too much talent.
Austintown Fitch looking to go 2-0 against Kent McKinley. We'll move on to one of the bigger games again. Cheney at Boardman. Boardman barely squeaking by Mooney last week, and Cheney coming out and laying it down on Poland on the road. So I'm going to take the Cowboys in week number 2 with Hewlett coming back again. He was injured last season. I think he's one of the best talented guys in this area, and I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys here to pick up their second one of the season.
I like the West Siders in this one, Richie. They were impressive against Poland. Defensively, I think they looked great. Offensively, they took advantage of everything Poland gave them. They made it a tough game for the Bulldogs. Boardman struggled 3/4 of that game. You know, it took them a while to get going. They found a way to gut out a win against Cardinal Mooney, but I like the way Cheney played. I'm going with the Cowboys.
All right, 2-0 for the Cowboys to start. Jamie?
Yeah, kind of like Axe said, you know, really saw Boardman struggle through that game against Mooney, and that honestly scares me a little bit. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Mooney does this week, right? See if they are kind of that tough team, and maybe, hey, you know, Boardman, they fought a good team, but I know how good Cheney is. I watched that scrimmage against Hubbard. They absolutely demolished them. I think the Cowboys might run the whole table this year. I got Cheney.
All right, 3-0 on the top. We'll start on the bottom with Mikey G this time.
Yeah, I'll take Cheney on this one. A lot of athletes for the Cowboys, and I think they get it done against Boardman.
Siggy, do we keep the train rolling?
Yeah, it's hard not to like Cheney. Their confidence has got to be through the roof right now to go along with that athleticism. So that's a tough combination to crack. So I'm going with the Cowboys.
Do we have the Sweet McNuggies?
Yes, we do. Give me Cheney.
All right, Cowboys take it 6-0 here on the YSN Super Show. All right, we're going to rely on you a little bit here, Siggy. East Liverpool at Indian Creek. What did you see from the Potters last week in that big win over Minerva?
You know, there's a lot of young talent for East Liverpool this year. The new quarterback and Garrett Wright. Trent Davis is a junior. These guys are filling in roles for people that are no longer there. The quarterback transferred, running back graduated, star receivers graduated. They got a huge tight end in Kirby. He's 6'4", sophomore. And they have a lot of teamwork to go along with Ludwig on the front line with Tim Russell, and they're strong up front. So I think they're going to make the trip to Wintersville and come out on top over Indian Creek. It's a rebuilding Indian Creek team, not like they've had in the past where they've barely been solid. They were blanked last week. So I like the Potters to keep it going on this young season.
All right, Siggy's got the Potters in the first take. Mackenzie, I guess we'll go over to you for this. You got Indian Creek or East Liverpool?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of what Siggy said. I think Liverpool's got some young guys this year that are really gonna put together maybe a surprising season, maybe not, but I think they definitely pick up a win against Indian Creek and improve to 2-0 on the season.
Across the board, Anthony Hartwig was the only guy in our picks that picked Indian Creek. So does everybody else on here agree that East Liverpool is going to come out with a victory here in week 2?
I got East Liverpool.
Okay, so everybody's taking East Liverpool. We will move on. Conneaut, who had a heartbreaking loss last week against Edgewood. They lost by 15-14 at Western Reserve. The Blue Devils last week, who had 4 touchdowns through the air. They also played some really good defense against a new Liberty offense. So I'm going to take the Blue Devils here in week number 2 against Conneaut at home. I think this is going to be a really close game, though, coming down to the stretch. And we'll start with Ackelson to my right.
Well, I think Conneaut's going to give them a game, but I think in the end, John Armini's club's just going to be too good. I think Western Reserve's going to get the nod for their second straight home win of the season.
All right, we'll move over to Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm riding the back of you two guys right here. I thought Western Reserve looked good last week. Conneaut, that's a tough loss, and I don't think this is the week for them to bounce back.
All right, down to the bottom. We'll start with Mikey.
Yeah, I like Western Reserve. Impressive win last week against Liberty, and I think they carried over this week and beat Conneaut.
Siggy?
Reserve. No thinking about it right there.
We have the clean sweep.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Conneaut's a good team. They're going to give Western Reserve a good game, but the Blue Devils, they've got a pretty efficient passing attack, and I think it leads them to victory.
All right, our next game, 2 East Side schools, one from Cleveland, one from Youngstown. It's the East Golden Bears against the East Cleveland Shaw. I'm going to take the Golden Bears in this one, as they're going to take a long trip up to Cleveland to take on Cleveland Shaw. And I think, Mike, you're the only guy in our picks that took Shaw.
Yeah. I really wanted to take East, but something just told me it's a long road trip, tough game last week. I'm going with Shaw.
All right, Jamie, you saw the Golden Bears live in action in week 1 at Hubbard. Just talk about what the Golden Bears brought to the table. It looked like they played pretty solid defensively against Hubbard.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the lead up to the game, right? I said it was going to be a hard-fought defensive battle. Of course, Hubbard came out 3 straight touchdowns. They looked really good. Then East kind of threw up this wall, right? They figured out Hubbard was doing his run. They sold out for it. They did a tremendous job of stopping the run kind of there on out. They made a little bit of a run offensively. Had a nice, it was a 40-yard touchdown pass. Saw the quarterback go down. I don't know the injury situation with him. Also had one of their best defensive players get tossed from that game. But I fully expect the Golden Bears to head up north and get that victory because how good they are on the defensive side.
All right, 2-1 up top for the Golden Bears. Mikey G, you got Cleveland Shaw or East in this one?
This was kind of a toss-up for me. East actually didn't look too bad last week against Hubbard, but I am picking Cleveland Shaw. I think the long drive up to East Cleveland is going to pay dividends to the Golden Bears.
All right, we'll move it over to Siggy. Right now we got it split.
I'm going to go with Youngstown East on this one. Just stick with the local guys. See if that defense can hold up making the long trip.
Mackenzie, what you got? You got to get some sunglasses up there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had some sunglasses in my car, but apparently not. Try checking before the show, but I'll go with Youngstown East. We'll stay local here.
All
right. You need to ask the athletic director for some shades up there, Mike.
Or the football.
I don't know. You might know him better than I do.
All right. Siggy's getting a lot of spotlight here today. East Canton at United. Siggy, you got the call on this one. What do you expect in this matchup here tonight?
I think United's going to piggyback off what they did last week. Quarterback threw for 3 touchdowns. It was Luke Courtney that threw for 3 scores last week. Grant Knight moved him to slot receiver. Didn't disappoint in the first game, 53-yard score. So they have a lot of athleticism and seniors on the outside that can get down the field quickly. They also have Grant Knight can step in and play quarterback at any time as well, too, because he was a quarterback last year. So Coach Ogilvy's got experience in the skill positions. He's inexperienced up front, but that didn't hurt him last week. East Canton got handed it to him pretty good by Dalton last week. They're making the short drive to Hanoverton. I look for United to make it 2-0.
All right, I got United as well. Does anybody oppose with United beating East Canton tonight?
No.
All right, Jamie. The
Yeah,
lone wolf.
I took East Canton here. You know, sometimes you get these hunches and you just got to decide: are you going to ride them or are you going to let them pass? This is one that I felt like, hey, I'm going to take a shot in the dark on this one.
All right, I like it. And, we move on, and this is a game where, our owner and DJ Yoakley is always proud of. East Palestine at Toronto. Yoakley's not on the stream tonight, boys. He always takes the Bulldogs. Is anybody taking East Palestine here tonight against Toronto, who had a good week 1 victory over Wellsville?
Yeah, McNuggies, he's got it.
McNuggies.
I'll take East Palestine. I'm not going to leave DJ on the island. I'll take the Bulldogs in this one.
DJ would be proud. He's sending his best wishes down to you right now, all the way on the drive up there to University School. So McNuggies, the lone warrior, taking the Bulldogs tonight at Toronto. We go to a game that's going to be closer than a lot of people think. Garfield at Lakeview. Jamie Thompson moving over from Hubbard. You're going to cover some of your guys at Lakeview who are on the staff at Hubbard. So kind of preview this matchup for us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Lakeview versus Garfield, it's a rematch from last season that saw the G-Men really dominate and Lakeview just get dominated, right? That was kind of the MO for last season for both these teams. But Lakeview coming off a huge high last week. Head coach Sam Bellino's first victory at the helm over there in Cortland, went 0-10 last season. The senior class, they come in with a huge chip on their shoulder, right? I feel like a lot of teams, they go into a season, it's like, oh, let's just find something that we can kind of stick to, right? They almost look for something to give them a little bit of grit. They don't have to look any further than last year. They were winless. They went 0-10. They've been a combined 3-25 their first 3 years. These dudes are gritty. A lot of times it's like, you talk about, hey, not all experience is good experience. All varsity football experience is good experience. These kids have got a lot of it. They've got a lot of heart. And I look for a good matchup tonight between the Bulldogs and G-Men. Garfield, of course, they lost a lot from last season. I mean, there's no mistake about it. But they returned a very good core group. They looked really good against Cardinal, winning 40-12. It's another year, another winning season for the G-Men. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle. Like you said, Richie, it's going to be a lot closer than all the experts may think. But I got Garfield in the end.
Yeah, I know you're a Lakeview fan and you're going to be covering the Bulldogs tonight, but I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I think the G-Men are just too powerful up front, and I'm going to go with Garfield here in week 2. Mike, what do you got? What do you think this is going to go?
I got Garfield. As much as I want to say Lakeview, they were impressive, but that's a building process. This is a week where they're going to learn a little bit about themselves through some adversity and everything, but I think Garfield's just too strong for them tonight.
All right, a sweep up top in the top 3 row. Let's go down to the bottom. Siggy, we'll start with you this time. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Garfield. I think this has, for both teams, it's going to tell you what each the teams they played last week were like after this game here. Who comes out on top? LeBray lost a lot. Lakeview took advantage of that, and good for them. They took it to them. And Garfield, they just know how to win. And I think that winning culture and attitude may come out on top tonight. So I'll take the G-Men.
McNuggies, we going to make it 5 in a row?
Yeah, we'll go 5 in a row. I got the G-Men.
Mikey G for the sweep. You taking the Bulldogs? You going to
I'll take Lakeview in the upset.
All right, there we go. We got a lot of lone wolves here today. I like it. I mean, you love to see no sweeps in this pick'em, but here we go to Geneva at Struthers. Talking to some of the 4-4-0 and goal guys, they said this is a really down year for Geneva. Lost a lot from last year, and Struthers with a big week 1 victory. So I'm going to have to take the Wildcats here in week number 2. We'll move over to Mike.
Cats are going to roar again. They'll be 2-0 after tonight.
Jamie?
Make it 3 in a row. I got the Cats.
All right. We'll go down to the bottom. Mikey G, you start us off.
Oh, let's go 4-0 Struthers.
All right. Siggy?
Could be running clock again for the Cats. Struthers.
McNuggies?
Clean sweep. Give me Struthers.
Right.
Very impressive last week.
Clean sweep for the Wildcats over Geneva. Harvey at Jefferson is our next game. Pat has the call at Jefferson, and I'm going to have to go with the NE8 foe in the Jefferson. So, Harvey, I don't know much about. Maybe somebody on this panel does, but I think that Jefferson's really good this year. They've got a great leader at quarterback, so I'm going to have to take them in week number 2. And Mike, we'll go over to you for
I like Jefferson. They came out and they absolutely just – I think it's going to be another running clock for the Falcons this week. I think they got some points that they want to prove heading into tough league play starting up. but I like them all the way tonight.
Jamie?
I feel like if I didn't wear a Hubbard shirt every week, people might think I'm a Jefferson guy because I feel like I'd pick the Falcons at any chance that I get. But I'm not changing anything this week. Give me Hitchcock and the Falcons.
All right. Mikey G.
Yeah, I like Jefferson. Hitchcock's a very good quarterback, and I like the Falcons.
Siggy, we're going to go 5 in a row.
Yeah, I want to see if that Jefferson offense can still do what they did last week, a couple weeks in a row, and then you're really going to start paying attention to what they're doing, I think. So, Falcons.
Mackenzie, 2 in a row for a clean sweep.
Yes, sir. I'm going with Jefferson in this one.
All right, this is going to be another close matchup. Howland, who lost in week 1 against Niles, they fought hard. They were up at one point in that first half. They're going to travel to Ravenna. So Ravenna against Howland. I'm going to have to go with the Tigers and a bounce-back victory on the road here in week number 2.
We're going to the Smurf turf in Ravenna this week. So blue turf, everything. I really want to pick Howland, but I can't. I'm going with the home team, Ravenna.
I will say in the past, a lot of our local teams have had a lot of trouble in regional championships up there in that Smurf turf. So hopefully the Tigers can turn it around here in week number 2. Jamie, who do you got?
Yeah, I hate that field in Ravenna. I mean, it absolutely stinks. Blue turf sucks. I don't think you should allow to have colored turf that's outside of green. But with that said, I have to take Ravenna here. Of course, Howland that lost to Niles, and I don't know how much stock I'm putting in that yet.
All right. Michael McKenzie's got some company up there. Who do you got here, Howland or Ravenna?
Yeah, I'll take Howland in this one. I don't want to leave you on an island here, Richie, so I'll definitely go with Howland, go with the local guys.
Appreciate that. Siggy?
If that blue turf blows their mind, McNuggets, they should go down to Caddis and check out Harrison Central's.
Cool.
Ravenna,
yes, they should.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Smurf turf.
What's Harrison Central have?
It's gray, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's gray, and when there's a team with colored uniforms, it just looks like it's a black and white photo with the color. It's impressive. It's wild.
So that's a play-by-play nightmare is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey D, what do we think here, Howland or Ravenna?
Well, looking at last week's scores, neither team really scored a whole lot of points in their week 1 losses. But I think Howland going up to Ravenna on the blue turf, I think it's going to be too much for him. I'll take Ravenna.
All right, we move on to Hubbard at Greenville. This is Greenville's first game of the season, so moving across the border for the Hubbard Eagles. And, Jamie, I know that you're split up with David Williams here this week, but you know the Eagles better than anybody here. So give us a little preview of this ball game here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Hubbard versus Greenville, I'm expecting it to be kind of one-sided here, right? I hate to say it right off the bat, but it's Greenville's first game of the year, and Hubbard's kind of a tough team to start with, being that they've already had one game. Greenville's just getting started. The thing with the Eagles is when you play us, you know that you played us the next day, maybe a couple days after, because it's a physical brand of football. And this is Ohio versus PA, right? We talk about it all the time, at least in my circle. I think Ohio's the best at football. PA, they got a leg up in basketball. I think it's time for the Eagles to cross the border and kind of show, hey, lay the smackdown on Greenville, take it to them.
I love it. I love it. Is anybody else opposed to that? Anybody have Greenville in this matchup tonight?
I'm from PA, and I'm not even going with the PA score.
No, we're going with Hubbard all day.
OHIO here in the stream. We move on to Liberty at Girard. Liberty, a tough week 1 loss to Western Reserve. They got a new quarterback in Mateo who's trying to figure things out. Girard, on the other hand, I think they picked up one of the biggest victories of week number 1, beating Streetsboro convincingly. So I'm going to have to go with the Indians here in week number 2, beating Liberty on their home turf.
I love this game. It's a rivalry game. You can throw out the records, as they say, but I'll tell you what, Liberty, they had their moments against Western Reserve. I like Girard, though. I think Girard is going to come into Liberty tonight and just have a whale of a time. Give me the Indians.
All right, 2 for the Indians. Thompson.
Yeah, I agree with kind of both of you there, right? It's a huge win for them over Streetsboro last week. Girard, they're top 10 team right now, in my opinion. And, of course, Liberty had their moments against Western Reserve, but Girard, they're just a different animal. I got Pearson and the Indians.
All right, Mikey G, we'll start with you. Do we make it 4 in a row for the Girard Indians?
Yeah, I'll take Girard in this one. A big week 1 win over Streetsboro. I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence riding into this rivalry game, and I think they'll knock off the Indians.
Siggy?
Excuse me, Liberty.
I agree with Mikey. There's nothing not to like about Gerard right now, and keep going with the Indians.
I got a good feeling Mackenzie's going with the sweep here.
Oh, yeah. Going with Gerard.
All right, we'll let you start this one, Mackenzie. Lowville at Campbell Memorial. Last week it was all Lowville and Vinny Ballone, who set a franchise high in touchdowns, and then Campbell kind of struggled against Valley Christian at home. I'm going to take Lowville here in week number 2. What do you got, Mike?
I got Lowville all the way in this one. I think the Rockets, they ignite. It's a short trip for them, easy trip. They're going to head back to Lowville very happy tonight.
All right, McNuggies, what do you got? Sorry, I forgot we have 2 mics here on the panel.
We actually got 3 if we're –
We have 3, yeah.
Yeah, we got 3.
Jeez.
I mean, I know Mikey G, but we still got 3 mics. Yeah, 3 mics, yeah. But Lowville was impressive last week. I feel like it's going to be much more the same this week.
All right, we'll go over to Siggy.
Lowville big.
Okay. Mikey G.
Yeah, Lowville big as well.
Thompson, I'm feeling the sweep.
Yeah, I got Lowville and the Fighting Balloons.
All right, this is going to be a good matchup coming up next. McDonald at Columbiana. 2 teams looking to rebound, but I'm going to take Columbiana at home here in week number 2. I think this might be a split here on the panel. This is going to be a good one. Ackelson, what do we think here?
This one was tough for me. I sat here and I debated. Dan Williams is a good coach. Bob Spate's a good coach. Both of them lost tough games last week on the road, but I think Columbiana. I think Bob Spate's club gets their first win of the year tonight.
Jamie, you going to break this up?
I'm with you guys here. I'm going Columbiana. You know, I tossed a coin up in the air. It came up tails, so I had to go with the Clippers.
Tails never fails.
Exactly. Mikey G?
This was also kind of a toss-up for me, but being that Columbiana is at home, Firestone Park, kind of a tough place to play. Give me the Clippers.
All right. I'm surprised. 4 in a row to start with Columbiana. Siggy, we going to keep that train rolling, or are we going to go with McDonald?
You know, I'm going to go with the Clippers as well. Spate's going for 200. Next win is number 200, and Joe Guido's the quarterback, transfer from last year. He's a very good athlete, and I think they're going to come through at home. I really do.
Mackenzie, are we going to be the lone wolf again, or are we going to ride this train with Columbiana?
All right, this is going to be the first time I'm not completing this sweep. I got a feeling. I mean, 2 solid football teams. They match it pretty well, but I'm going to go McDonald here. We're going to break up the sweep.
All right, lone wolf again for the second time, picking the Bulldogs as well as McDonald here today. I'll preview this matchup. Myself and Kyle Wills will have the call. Newton Falls at Jackson Milton, 2 teams that picked up big week 1 victories. For Jackson Milton, they went on the road and beat up Latonia. Chiavi, their quarterback, threw a franchise-high 7 touchdowns. And then for Newton Falls, they went to Ashtabula St. John, and they beat up on the Fighting Heralds 41-0. I got a chance to talk to Greg Lazari. He was our coach's corner this week, so go check that out on our website. But he was talking about it's their time to shine now. Newton Falls in the MVAC has been one of the lower teams in the past 10 years. They haven't had a winning season in 13 years. So it's their time to shine. They got 2 really explosive running backs in Cameron Brainard and Carter Rapsack, and then their quarterback and Alex Pennington is a returner as well. So I'm going to have to take the Newton Falls Tigers here on the road against the Blue Jays in a huge week 2 matchup. For Newton Falls, they're looking to build that momentum and keeping the undefeated season alive. And Jackson Milton, another team that put up some serious numbers against Latonia. I think this is going to be a good matchup. One team likes to run, the other team likes to throw. It's very contradicting play styles, but I think it's going to be a fun one tonight in Blue Jay country. But I'm going to have to stick with the Tigers. Mike, what do you got?
Well, you got ground and pound, or you can air it out. I like ground and pound. I think the Tigers go in there and have a little fun with the Blue Jays tonight. I just think their week 1 game was maybe a little tougher in the competition side of things. No disrespect to Jackson Milton. I think they pulled out a great win last week, but I think this one's going to be the Tigers.
All right. Jamie, do we keep it rolling with Newton Falls?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you said Coach Lazari, you kind of locked that one in for me. You know, I know Coach's son a little bit. We played baseball for a year. I know the family. Lock in Newton Falls.
Yeah, Gino was one of the best high school baseball players in the state this year. He was like top 5 in average in all of Ohio. So pretty impressive from him. And he's also on the roster. He gets some time at wide receiver, and it's going to be a fun one tonight. So 3 across the board for the Tigers up top. Let's start with Siggy at the bottom. I got a feeling that he might be going with the Blue Jays the way he's smirking down there.
I am. I'm going to go with Jackson Milton. Just a hunch. When you have a quarterback that can air it out like they do, I think that's hard to compliment sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to find a running back to get hot than it is to have a quarterback that can air it out sometimes. So I think both teams are evenly matched up. I think both teams took advantage of a lesser opponent last week and really took it to them. So I'm going to take Jackson Milton. I think it'll be really, really close, though.
Okay, Mackenzie, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Siggy here and go with Jackson Milton. 7 touchdown passes last week for the Blue Jays. They've got, again, a very efficient, passing offense, and I tend to lean more towards, high-powered, efficient passing offenses like the one Jackson Milton has. I think they go in and pick up a big victory this week.
All right, 2 for Shiavi and now 1 for Mikey G. What do we got?
This is another toss-up for me. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think both teams are pretty evenly matched. But I like Newton Falls going on the road up to Jackson Milton and pulling out with a victory.
All right, 4-2 across the board for the Tigers to pull off the upset in Jackson Milton tonight. We move to Orange, their first game here on ysnlive.com. Just joined the network. DJ Oakley got a chance to have an interview with their head coach and Rob Senor. And now they will take on Mineral Ridge on the road. A long trip for Orange here in week number 2. And the way that Ridge played against Pymatuning Valley in week 1, I'm going to have to go with the Rams here in the second week. Ackelson, what do you think here?
I feel like everything you say I'm copying this week, so I'm not going to change that up. We'll stick with the Rams.
All right, Jamie?
We've all kind of been on the same wavelength here, so let's just lock it in again. 3 in a row.
All right, Mikey G?
Make that 4 for the Rams.
Siggy?
Going with the helmet, the Rams.
Okay, do we make it a clean sweep?
Clean sweep. I'm taking the Rams.
All right, we move to Franciscan against Ursuline. It'll be Anthony Malone and Steve Leslie. Romo's got some volleyball duties tonight for Youngstown State, so he's going to be out at standball, but Malone and Leslie will have the call. I'm going to take Ursuline here in week number 2. I think they're one of the best teams in the Valley.
Irish was soaring last week. That's going to continue in week 2.
Jamie?
Yep, totally agree. Got the Irish.
I should probably switch up these boxes so it doesn't look like just the top against the bottom here today. Mikey G, what do you think? Franciscan coming in, can they pull off the upset over Ursuline?
Nah, no chance. I think Ursuline wins big, and DC Farrell is just a stud. Their whole team's full of athletes, so Ursuline wins big.
Siggy?
Last week was just a preview for Ursuline. What's not to like? Irish.
Mackenzie, we make it a clean sweep.
Ursuline all day, every day.
All right. Clean sweep here for the Ursuline Irish. And now we move over to Poland at Louisville. This is where our YSN primetime was this week, yesterday at 5 o'clock. And the Leopards talked about the historic stadium over there at Louisville and the culture that surrounds that program. And they're looking to bounce back after a tough loss in week number 1 against the team off the river in Steubenville. And Poland, on the other hand, looking to bounce back as well after a week 1 loss to Cheney. I'm going to have to take the Leopards here. I think this might be a down year for the Bulldogs, and I like the culture that the Leopards have. They're going to have a great fan base on hand tonight, so I'm going to take Louisville at home. Ackelson, what do you think?
Well, once again, I'm right with you on this one. I think Louisville played a tougher game last week against Steubenville. Cheney went in there and just literally handed Poland their lunch. I like Louisville.
All right, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Poland kind of does this every once in a while, right? Where they're almost on a down year and everyone's freaking out. What just happened? It's okay, Bulldog fans. It's just 1 year. They'll be back next year. Louisville advances 1-1.
All right. Mikey G?
Yeah, I'll take the Leopards in this one at home.
All right. Siggy and Mackenzie, do we agree with that? Do they take the Leopards, or are we going to go with Poland?
I think you stick with Louisville.
Look at this. The Poland guy himself even going with the Leopards here today. So that'll say a lot. Mackenzie, What do you think?
I mean, that does say a lot, but I think I'm going to go with Poland in this one. I think they're motivated, coming off of a tough week 1 loss. It obviously didn't go, their way a week ago. I think they come in here motivated and they pick up what would be a huge victory on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, Richie, I will say it's probably gut check time, even though it's week 2 for Poland. As much as they got embarrassed last week, but if you guys ever get a chance, go to that facility at Louisville's. It's impressive.
It is. They got that tiger right behind the end zone there. Unbelievable. I love it there. I mean, they got one of the best facilities, best press boxes in our area.
That's awesome.
And then you walk around the community, and like DJ was talking about on the Super Show yesterday on primetime, he was like, you walk into the Wendy's there, and all you see is Louisville Leopards football stuff. It's just awesome to walk down that town and see the historic monuments that they have and the pride that they have in Leopard country. So everybody's taking Louisville. Even the Poland guy will show that one more time. It's going to be a big night for Louisville when he's taking the Leopards. So we'll move over to Champion, Rootstown at Champion. I'm going to have to go with Rootstown here. They had a big week 1 victory, and I'm going to have to go with Rootstown. Mike,
I'd like to see Champion bounce back, Richie, but I think this one's going to be Rootstown as well.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going with Rootstown as well. I guess they're the Roovers? I feel like they should be the Rooters. It makes more sense to me, but
Mikey G?
Yeah, give me the Rovers. I'll take Rootstown.
Rovers. Son of a gun.
Rovers. Siggy?
My bad.
I'm going to stick with Rootstown.
All right. Mackenzie?
I'll go with Champion on this one.
Oh, man.
Wow.
He being a company guy today. That's his third lone wolf opportunity, and he takes advantage. All right, now it's your time to shine here, Mackenzie. Salem at Beaver Local. This was a toss-up and the hardest game to pick. Two teams who had, first for Beaver Local, they had a tough one in week number 1, but Salem barely able to squeeze by over Crestview. So I think this is going to be a great game. Mackenzie, you're on top of the press box. You're there 8 hours early. You're ready to go. Give us a preview of this game here tonight.
Well, I mean, despite what the scores would tell you from a week ago, these are two teams with some high-powered offenses. They've got some great quarterbacks. With Salem, it's Jackson Johnson, a 4-year starter. With Beaver Local, it's second-year starter Austin Klein, a junior. There's going to be a lot of fireworks in this one, at least I believe, between these two teams here at Pastor Field. I understand last week, Beaver Local putting up 20 points, ended up giving up 31 unanswered to Indian Valley. That's going to be something that they have to shore up. In Salem, they gave up 7, but only scored 17 offensively. But I feel like both of those teams could possibly double the amount of points that they score in this game. Talking with Coach McKenzie before the game, he said that a lot of it due to last week was centered around preparation and things that he didn't do to get his team ready. So he said he's done a better job this week at getting his team prepared. There's been high intensity, high paced practices. That's what I heard talking to Dylan Ferguson in our players profile as well. So I got to go with the Beavers here at home, picking up a home victory to open up the home season at least. They've got 7 games here. They're going to start it off on the right foot with a big victory over Salem.
I love that. Nothing beats Michael McKenzie talking to Coach McKenzie at the dinner table. Yeah, what are you thinking about Friday night? Oh, I think we're going to be prepared, Mike. All right, that's what I'll say on the show. Okay, I'll start it off. I love it. I'm rooting for Beaver Local, but I'm going to have to go with Salem. I just think they're a little bit flat last week, and I think they're going to come out high-powered offense, and I think they're going to get the victory. So I'm going to have to go with the Quakers here in week number 2. And same with Ty Bartell. He's going to have to get the Quakers as well. Sorry, McNuggies. Laugh out loud. Ackelson, what do we think?
I got to apologize to Michael right off the bat, but this was a tough one for me to pick. Like, I wavered back and forth because I think Beaver Local has a good football team. Unfortunately, I think they're going to start the season 0-2. Give this one to the Quakers.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm rolling with you guys here. I think the Quakers are going beaver hunting tonight.
Oh, it's a shot at Mike. All right.
Just want to say the last time he used the words beaver hunting, Beaver Local ended up winning by 2 scores. So
think about it.
Good omens for tonight.
Whenever I pick Edison, they lose. So I don't know.
Siggy, what do we think?
I'm rolling with my boys, the Beavs, tonight. I think it's a prove me week for both teams. I think Beaver Local, a lot of high expectations last week. I know that line play was an issue coming into the season, something they're looking to shore up. I know it wasn't very strong last week either. In Salem, their offense, it was just MIA last week. They struggled a little bit to stop Crestview on the ground. Crestview was run-oriented offense, couldn't put the ball in the air. So I'd be interested to see that defense of Salem facing the air attack of Beaver Local and see if they can stop it. So I'm going with my boys, the Beavs, this week, and hopefully they can come through.
Mikey G, do you stick with the bottom row buddies and go with the Beavs, or Are you going to take the Quakers?
I'm going to take the Beavs here. I think
boy.
Salem's offense struggled a little bit last week. I'll be curious to see if they can get back on the right track this week. But give me Beaver local.
All right, I like it. Clean split, top and bottom, our first one of the day. We'll move over to Valley Christian at LeBray. Valley Christian was really impressive. They were actually our player of the week in week number 1. LeBray has lost a lot from a year ago, and I'm going to have to take Valley Christian here in week number 2.
I like Valley Christian last week. I thought they started the season off with a real nice win against Camel Memorial. LeBray, that's a tough loss. Nobody expected them. I did call that, though. I did say Lakeview would win that game. I'm going with Valley Christian.
Yeah, Jamie did as well, if you remember that last one. But
Me and you, Mike, we're all over it.
Stay with Valley Christian here in week 2, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going with Valley Christian. Kind of talked about how LeBray, they really struggled last week. Valley Christian, the complete opposite. 2 teams on 2 different trajectories.
All right, does anybody on the bottom row oppose with those picks here today with Valley Christian? Okay, clean sweep. BC beating up on LeBray tonight. We'll see about that. Wellsville at Edison. This is going to be a good game. Wellsville, a tougher loss. Edison, a good squad at home. We'll start with Mackenzie on this one. What do you think?
I didn't look at the spreadsheet, so I don't know if I'm going to be the lone wolf on this one or not. Obviously, 2 different teams with 2 different results a week ago. I'm going to go with Wellsville in this one. Upset or not sure what the consensus would be. I think it's going to be maybe a 5-1. I'm sitting on my own, but I like Wellsville this week. I'm going to take them. Bit of a gut feeling here.
Yeah, I think you're the only one with the Tigers here this week. Siggy, we'll move over to you.
I went with Edison, but I think a lot of people don't realize that the Toronto team that Wellsville lost to last week is pretty darn good. They have a couple good athletes that Michael and I know where they came from down in Toronto. So it's more like Beaver Local South, if you know what I mean. But I think Edison at home in that beautiful facility is going to come through over the Tigers tonight. But I think it'll be a good game.
All right, well, we apologized last week. And, I forget who commented on the show, but somebody said, hey, Edison already played. And, that was today. But we do apologize, and we're going to get you covered here this week at home. Gary and Coy are going to have the call of that game. We'll move over to Mikey G. Do you have Edison or do you have Wellsville?
I'll take the Wildcats. I think Edison's pretty good at home, and I think that's going to be the difference here tonight.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Edison. That's usually damning for them. Every time that I pick them, they lose. So I really hope that I'm changing the luck here tonight, guys. I'm rooting for you. Let's win this one.
All right, Ackelson?
I just changed mine in the picks. I had Edison earlier, but I'm going Wellsville. I'm going to say the Tigers tonight.
All right, 2 for the Tigers, but I'm going to have to stick with Edison. We'll take it 4-2 here in our pool. We'll move over to Woodridge at West Branch. The Warriors, Mikey G, you're going to be on the call, looking to bounce back. Played Canfield really tough in week number 1. What are you going to see in this matchup here tonight?
This is going to be a good game because Woodridge has some athletes. Last year when I called the game up at Woodridge had a 4-point lead going into the half, and then West Branch exploded in that second half. Their quarterback's an athlete. Charlie Lambs, 290 yards last week against Revere, 5 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, he threw to 6 different receivers. But I like West Branch at home. I think, judging on last year, Lambs was the quarterback for Woodridge. He's more of in the pocket type of passer. I think Drew DeShields, the ability to escape out of the pocket is going to be the difference tonight. And I think the Warriors win, but I think it's a close win at home.
Well, you talked about it last week. Everybody was doubting West Branch and that they didn't have a shot against Canfield. And, the Warriors had Mike Pavlansky sweating on that sideline in that 4th quarter. And that was a really good ball game. Came down to the wire in that last possession. So I'm going to have to go with West Branch as well. We'll make it 2-0. And Ackelson, will go over to you.
I'm going Warriors in this one. I like the way they played last week. Like you said, nobody gave them a chance against Canfield. They showed everybody they're going to be a team to reckon with. If you ever lose, can take something positive out of a game you lost. West Branch did last week, and they'll prove it on the field tonight.
Jamie, do we go 3-0?
Yeah, I'm rolling with you guys. It's hard to feel good about a loss, but kind of like Mike said there, right? This is one of the best teams in the area, and you put up that fight against them. It's something to hang your head about or hang your head on. I've got West Branch.
All right, Siggy.
West Branch was the one team that had the loss that people were voting for in our power rankings this week for a reason. And Drew DeShields, he's a stud. I'm going with the Warriors.
Mackenzie, I know you got some creatures around you getting ready for the game tonight, but who do you got in week number 2? You got Woodridge or West Branch?
I'm going to go West Branch. I think they may have had the most impressive showing in a loss from a week ago. You put up that fight against a team that was number 1 in the YSN power ranking. So, I'm going to have to go with West Branch on this one.
Okay, we move over to what DJ Oakley said on his preview on 21 is going to be the best game of the week. Southern at Crestview. The way Crestview played against the Quakers in week number 1 on the road, kind of like West Branch against Canfield, nobody gave them a chance in that ball game, and they came out and proved everybody wrong. In Southern, at home, at the Wigwam, a huge win. They now move away from their home field at Crestview here in week number 2. Who do we got? We'll start with Ackelson to my right.
This is going to be a good one. I really like the way Southern played last week. I know Crestview gave Salem everything, but boy, there could ever be a hangover from a tough loss like that. I think this could be Crestview's week for that. I'm going with Southern.
Jamie, who do you got?
Yeah, I was excited to pick Southern all 10 times in the regular season this year. And then, of course, I flipped to see their matchup, and it was against Crestview, who really impressed me last week. So I'm going to have to roll with the Rebels, go with Crestview.
Okay, first Rebel, Mikey G. Who we got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Crestview as well. I was really impressed with their defense last week. I think them being at home gives them a slight advantage, and I'll go with the Rebels.
Okay, Siggy?
My one question is, does this game mean as much to Crestview as it does Southern? I feel like Southern's still trying to prove a point, playing in the EOAC, going out of conference, playing a Crestview squad up the road in Columbiana County that's always been a perennial good team. I'm going to go with Coach Wright's wing T offense tonight and go with the Indians. I think they have a lot on their shoulders, a chip on their shoulder, even though they're a good team and everybody knows it. But I think they're going to do it, Southern local.
Yeah, I'm going to take Southern with you there, Siggy. I think you make a great point of that wing T, and seeing a couple teams that I've covered run the wing T, and if you run it effectively, it's one of the hardest offenses to stop in high school football. And with the size that Southern has up front, I think that's going to cause a lot of trouble for the Rebels here tonight, and I'm going to take Southern in week 2. Mackenzie, who do you got?
I'm going to roll with Jamie on this one. I'm going with Crestview.
All right, so Crestview with another win. A pretty good split there. That's how it was in our pools so far here today. We move Strasburg Franklin at Waterloo. And Waterloo, who got beat up in week number 1, they do have their second home game of the season. Who do we think here, guys? We'll start with Mackenzie on this one.
I know nothing about Strasburg Franklin, so I'm just going to roll with Waterloo.
All right, that's always a safe bet. Siggy, who do we got?
Ditto. I'm with Mackenzie on this one.
Okay, let's move over to Mikey G.
Yeah, I don't know much about Strasburg Franklin. I know Waterloo had a tough loss last week. I'm going to take Strasburg Franklin.
Okay, first on Strasburg. Jamie, what do we think?
It looks like Waterloo put up a good fight against United Strasburg Franklin. They got rolled in their first matchup, so I'm going to go with Waterloo here.
Okay, Ackelson.
I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to make a change on mine. I picked Franklin earlier, but you guys have just twisted my mind, and now it's Waterloo.
All right, I'm not doing that. I'm sticking with mine. I'm going with Strasburg Franklin. They did get beat handingly, like Jamie said, but I'm going to stick with Strasburg on the road at Waterloo here in week 2. We move to Lisbon at Fairport Harbor. I think everybody had Lisbon in this matchup tonight. Does anybody oppose with that?
No.
Jamie, again.
I oppose here. I'm sorry to do. I took Fairport Harbor. I looked at their week 1 matchup. They beat Akron North. It's a Division II school. Whether they're any good or not, I can't tell you that, but it's still impressive. D7 over D2. I'll give them the upper hand in this matchup.
All right, our next matchup, we go to the 4-4-0 and goal, guys. It's Grand Valley at Edgewood, and it's hard not to follow Edgewood after that thrilling victory. They got a big revenge statement against Conneaut, who kind of drilled them last year, but they come from behind in that last quarter, and they beat Conneaut in week number 1, and I'm going to have to stick with Edgewood here in week number 2.
I'm sticking with Edgewood as well.
All right, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you guys. My 4 years in high school, we played Edgewood every single year, and kind of going into that matchup, it was always, hey, we know we're gonna win this week. Seems like this is a completely different team this year, and I'm totally excited for it for the Warrior faithful.
All right, what do we go here with Siggy?
I'm going to go with Edgewood too. Last week on Audible Call, we could not quit watching the end of that game, and it's hard not to go with them again this week. So I'm riding with them.
All right, Mackenzie.
That Edgewood game was amazing a week ago. Got to go with them again.
All right, do we complete the sweep here, Mikey G?
Yeah, that Edgewood game last week was something special. Grand Valley, on the other hand, got steamrolled last week. Give me Edgewood to win.
All right, Wyndham at Rittman. Wyndham lost week number 1. Rittman is the team that just beat Strasburg Franklin 12-0 in that first game. Although they picked up a week 1 victory, I'm going to have to go with the Bombers here in Wyndham.
I like the Bombers as well, too. I just think they're going to have a bounce-back week.
All right, Jamie?
Same here, guys. The top rolls together. We're 3 strong.
Stay strong with Wyndham, or do we got an opposition? All right, we'll take
I went with Rittman. So
okay, Siggy, go ahead.
I went with Rittman. Sorry, my dog's not liking somebody outside right now.
He
He
picked Wyndham.
doesn't like that pick.
He likes Rittman too. He likes Rittman too. But no, it's hard to. I think Rittman actually put up 32 points last week, Richie, against.
Okay, maybe the match.
Yeah, they put a lot of points on the board, and that was a tough loss for Wyndham. They made a good game traveling to Lisbon, and it's like Mikey says, the hangover game sometimes. This might be it. I'm going to go with Rittman.
Warren JFK at Delta. I'm not even sure where Delta is at. I'm going to take JFK.
JFK all the way. They were very impressive against Champion last week. Hadley had a great game for them. Their defense was opportunistic. I look for more out of the Eagles like that tonight.
All right, JFK flying high against Delta Airlines here in week number 2. Jamie, what do we got?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. JFK, definitely better than Delta Airlines.
Mikey G?
Yeah, JFK.
All right, Siggy, we're going to keep it rolling?
Yes, JFK.
All right. Mackenzie?
Yeah, we're going JFK.
All right, he stays with the YSN school here. 3 underdog statements today from Mackenzie, but he's going to go with JFK. This game got canceled. Union area at Mohawk. Canfield at Bellevue. We won't be covering this one. I'm going to take the Cardinals after a week 1 victory over West Branch. Bellevue is a division down, but they are a good squad. They've got over 80 guys on the roster. Historically, a good program, and I'm going to take the Cardinals here in week number 2. Ackleson, what do we think?
Siggy's dogs tell me if I don't take Canfield, I'll be in trouble, so I'm riding with the Cardinals.
David?
Yeah, I had Canfield. They're number 1 in my power rankings for a reason, right? I'm expecting them to kind of go through this year unblemished, and I'm going to ride with them again.
All right, look at this coming in from Radar. He's picking Bellevue.
Wow.
Radar, you're done with the comments.
Get him out of here.
Mikey G, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take Canfield with to win again.
Okay. Siggy?
My dog knows his mom teaches there. We're going with the Cards.
Mackenzie, what do you think?
Yeah, we're going with Canfield on this one.
All right, we move to our final game on the docket. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to cover this one. Latonia at Martins Ferry, a long trip down there. Martins Ferry, a good team historically. Latonia kind of got beat up a little bit in week 1 against Jackson Milton, so I'm going to have to take Martins Ferry here in week number 2. What do you think, Mike?
I think Martins Ferry, they're going to win at home. Tough week 1 for Latonia. Week 2 might be just as tough. It could be a running clock again.
Jamie?
Same page as you right there, Mike. I mean, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can have my words whenever you want them.
So Russell doesn't like to go with the Cardinals at Bellevue, but he's going to stick with the YSN school here in this one. He's going to go Latonia. He might be the only one. Mackenzie, are we sticking here with Martins Ferry? You've seen them a time or two.
I've seen them a time or two, and they used to be a pretty good school of football. Last couple of years haven't been, their years, so to speak. I'm going to go with Radar here. I'm going with Latonia. Right. They're not taking the long trip and coming back empty-handed.
Siggy?
I'm going with Martins Ferry. I think they have not only is it a tough place to play down there on Route 7, but they got one of the coolest nicknames in high school athletics, the Purple Riders. with their helmets are pretty sweet too. The interlocking horseshoes. So check them out. They got a long history of winning. I'm going with the Riders.
Mikey G's got a good angle now. Oh, there it goes. What do you think?
We're good. Yeah, I'll take Morton's Ferry.
All right, we wrap up our picks here today. Mackenzie and Radar, the only two picking Laconia on the road. You know what time it is, boys. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? All right, Joe Dickey Electric, what's your spark? Ackleton, we'll start it off with you. You're going to be in studio tonight for another edition of the Audible Call. So what's your spark this week, Mike?
My biggest spark is to see how much teams improve from week 1 to week 2. All coaches will tell you that is the biggest week for each of these schools. Teams that got a loss last week, where do they improve? Teams that won, how do they even get better? So that's my spark. I want to see improvements. I want to see less penalties that are delay a game, procedure, lining up offsides. That's what I want to see tonight.
Jamie, what's your spark?
My spark's getting to go to Lakeview this tonight. I'm really excited for it. Kind of alluded to it. There's a lot of Hubbard guys on that staff. Of course, Sam Bellino, the head coach, he was my secondary coach in school. D coordinator, John Masor. I mean, that's one of my best friends. His father, got a great relationship with those guys. Super excited for that game. And, even though I picked Garfield, I'm kind of hoping in the back of my head that the Bulldogs can pull it out.
All right, Mackenzie, what's your spark here tonight?
I'm going to go with the atmosphere that's going to be here at Beaver Local tonight. First home game of the season, a lot of high expectations out here in Beaver Country. Obviously, again, last week didn't go their way, but still early in the season. Mike said it, the improvements from week 1 to week 2 are always the biggest for each team. So I want to see that not only from Beaver Local, but from Salem as well. They want to improve a little bit after getting all they could handle from Crestview. And there's going to be a lot of people in these stands tonight. It feels like it's going to be a bit of a football type of night here at Beaver Local. Can't wait for the atmosphere here.
Talking about atmosphere, how about that volleyball match that you called the other night? That was unbelievable atmosphere.
It was awesome.
That was amazing. And that student section really added to it. It was packed and they were loud. Atmosphere was great. That was followed up by an even greater match.
All right, Siggy, what's your spark here tonight?
My spark is, it's hard to believe that week goes that fast. It's week 2. And I love the local non-conference matchups, Crestview Southern, Salem Beaver Local, matchups like that I hope we continue to see in the future with the expanded playoff, that, you get a loss, it's not the end of your season. And I hope this keeps going for a lot of these schools. There's a lot of other schools I'm sure are talking about getting together, and it's a lot more possible to do that now. So that's my spark for this week, is some good matchups in week 2 and hopefully some good football.
Mikey G, what do we got tonight?
Yeah, just excited for another week of high school football. Excited get to call West Branch again, and just excited to see some of the other YSN teams battle it out tonight.
All right, everybody's pretty positive, but I'm going to have to go a little bit of a negative one. I think everybody was looking forward to a big week 2 matchup up there in Bellevue, but unfortunately, we're not able to call that game because I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but there's a certain amount of money that somebody wanted for us to cover that game, and it's a little bit outrageous for a high school football game on a Friday night. So we do it for the kids. We are looking forward to doing it because a lot of the Canfield people in this community weren't able to travel up there 2 hours after work and catch the opening kickoff, and they were looking forward to hearing the call and watching their son or whoever play, and even the cheerleaders and the band. But for that certain amount of money, we're not going to be able to do the game tonight. So we apologize to everyone out there. So I guess that's going to be my negative spark. But to end it on a good note, we do have a game coming up in an hour. It's going to be DJ Yoakley and Gary Niddle. They're going to have South Range on the road at University School. And then, Mike, you're going to start that audible call. When are we starting it here tonight with that 5 o'clock kickoff?
We're going to try and be on at 6:50 tonight. Come in 10 minutes early because we can recap the South Range game for everybody, get everybody set up and flying into their games tonight. Looking forward to it. Audible call at 7, DJs at 5, and you guys are all in the hot seat at 7.
Great way to wrap it up. Check out over 20 games tonight on YSN, guys. We appreciate your time. Thanks for hopping on. We were pretty balanced tonight. I mean, not too many sweeps across the board. So we appreciate your guys' time. It was a lot of fun, and I know DJ was looking forward to seeing us and how we were going to do without him. So it was a good show. We enjoyed it. And that'll wrap it up here in the YSN Power Hour, week 2 of the YSN Super Show.